So when Dan Gilbert says, I want to buy up a bunch of buildings, there's no group that goes down there and says, Mr. Mayor, we want this building not to be sold to Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
We have put together a group. We have our financing in place. We want to make sure that at least 2 of these buildings can be for folks who are indigenous to this community.
Now, you know that's not going to happen.
Why is it not going to happen?
Well, no. It can happen.
But
you know that that's not going to happen.
And
people would rather sit there and complain, type hard in the comments, than actually put something together and do something.
My grandfather used to always talk about, see, they're bringing knives to a gunfight again. And that's the reason why we continue to lose. So when you ask me the question, do I think it's changed? Not nationally. I think Black Lives Matter and the movement was an outgrowth of emotion. Mm-hmm. But who wouldn't have emotion after watching a man be killed with a knee on his neck? Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. Extended emotion for days and days and days and days and days, and it's all wrapped up in one way, and we marching. We using 1960s tactics in 2020, and it's really nobody makes a pivot from that point. And so here it is, and I use this word in my book. So the niggerization process happens after that. So what happens is we start to cater to people differently. We start to, I'll give these people a little this. I'll put on a shirt. We'll acknowledge some people at our NBA and NFL games. Mm-hmm. But there has been no power that has been conceded to the people in these towns where they need it, and the killing didn't stop. So how do we effectively engage some of these issues with the church, which got to be more than worship, with the church, with our governmental leaders? How do we work together? I don't believe that we should be having a beef with regular people, because I don't really see Congress folk and mayors, black mayors and governors, or even those people who are over primarily like a Mike Duggan, a predominantly black city, working together to figure out how we build a construct in those cities, or how we go to Biden and say, hey, this is what we need. Yeah. That's my problem. My problem is I have all this in my head. I understand the appropriations process. I understand the executive spending process, but I don't have a place to help other people understand yet. Yeah. And I want people to understand what they should be asking for. The biggest thing in the world is if you ever get into the Oval Office, or if you ever get into Gretchen Whitmer's office, the governor of the state, or even Mike Duggan, you got to do more than take a picture. Yeah. You really have to know exactly what to ask for. And politics is still a science, and I believe so many people are still using it as an emotional outgrowth for their community concerns, and not going to the table saying, listen, in the interior budget, you have put aside $2 million for cities of over 750 people, and it's particularly for such because you haven't studied that. Mm-hmm. And you haven't spent that money in over 3 budget cycles. We would like that $2 million to come to Gratiot and 6 Mile to be able to blah, blah, blah. We don't know.
Well, you kind of talked about that the last time that we spoke, and that you highlighted how there's no reason for people to specifically, or for any community leader or future politician or anything like that, or for the Democratic or the Republican Party at large, to do anything differently based off of the idea that they already know what you're going to do and what it is that you stand for in the first place. So if you operate out of ignorance, and we know that during an off-cycle election, in which it's not a national election, but maybe it's something that's happening in which the millages is happening in your city, and whoever it is that's going to become the city council and the mayor, and we know that there's going to be a very, very low voter turnout rate, and this particular precinct or voter station is it's going to be desolate. Then why would they have any incentive in order to try to give you any kind of information outside of what they already know that you're going to do, to be able to tackle that?
Speaking to communities, particularly in urban America, that really control the vote of the Democratic Party. People in urban America control that vote, whatever city you come from. No Democratic presidential candidate could ever win without you. So all I have to do to get you on my side is to make the other person a quote unquote devil. Yeah. So the political strategy is always to demonize the person that's on the Republican side. Mm-hmm. And if I can demonize that person enough, because people actively go out and vote against people more than they vote for people.
Yeah.
I ain't really for Biden, but I hate Trump.
Yeah, that's what
I
they
ain't really
say. Yep,
for
you're
this,
right.
but I hate this. And so that's what we do. I ran campaigns in this state. I ran them the same way. So I'm not absolving myself from being a
Well,
part
no,
of
it's a
this.
strategy, right?
It's a strategy. I had to make Freeman Hendricks the devil. So he gonna take everything from you. We gonna, and so I don't know about Kwame, but I'm gonna vote for him. Because that dude right there gonna kill us. So all we have to do is really do that in an election, and we win. At some point, we have to smarten up and say, wait a minute, we 90-something% of this vote.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, and then you get all the people that they pay. Now listen, they paying these people, all the reverends that you see, all the political strategists that you see. They paying these people millions of dollars. More people make more money in presidential election cycles. I used to demand 10, 12 million come down here to be spent with all of these different folks. All these, they making so much money. I'm gonna get on TV too if you paying me $1 million a month for the election cycle and say, Joe Biden is the only person that ever. Yeah, that's what they was. If I was a politician, which I was, I would do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not a politician anymore. I'm free. And so I want people to be free. I want people to understand that America ain't gonna go. It ain't gonna die. You can't love America more than anybody else now. Everybody, America's gonna die if we pick such and such. Stop it. Everybody is trying to get people in urban America to vote their way, whether that's the gay and lesbian agenda, whether it's the Latino agenda, and we're talking about borders. We vote for so much stuff that has nothing to do with us. And we don't have an urban agenda for criminal justice, for education, for after-school programs, for women to work programs in our community. So many women-led households. Why are we not having programs specifically engaged for them in urban America, and the money is being spread around the whole United States of America, where the problem is in urban America and in places like Detroit and Chicago, which could partner and go together for money. But I want to be able to talk to people about this, but people can't be scared when we get to the Oval Office. It's a business meeting. Stop treating it political.
So let me ask you a question. Let me stay there for a minute, because I do want to. How much power does the church have when it comes to the political process? Because you mentioned, kind of how much money is being spent during these election cycles and things like that. How much power does the church have when it comes to determining, or even controlling what's being demanded of a lot of these different politicians that then come and campaign, or they're advocating for them to vote for their particular guy or their person?
I believe that the church had a tremendous amount of power up until the 1990s. After the 1990s, when churches, white evangelical churches, were siding with the conservative candidacy, and black churches were mostly propelling Democrats or propping up Democrats, then the church lost its independence. Now there's no independence within the political structure of the church. And so you have so many people now, they just Democrats. It's just a church full of Democrats. But here's the problem. Issues that deal with morality, we can't really take a stand on. You can actually love the person without loving what they're into. And so the issues of abortion, the issues of gay and lesbian agenda, it's all of these different things, because the lack of independence is there, people can't even have a position on those things. And it's diminished their ability to be strong. And it's diminishing their ability to be independent.